Original Iowa, I fight into international Governor General sound system. Well, this is the New York, Iraqi, French connection, the triangle, the triangle, Ikuta.
Madness tight on the heads of the rebel.
Dead, it's a mosque with the dread. See the body rhythm represent become a head. Represent the sound with the Iowa. See the body rhythm, mother in culture. We no romp, we no grow, we no laugh, and we grin. See the body rhythm, and we keep fighting. Rebel soldier, I told you, they sold you, they bought you, they tricked you, they dicked you, they checked you in the ghetto. C'est quoi? City, with some mosque, sans the pity. I'm a rebel soldier, fighting against the war. See the body rhythm represent and keep it raw. One time in the place to be, Iowa. And Jamalski, Ram dance all and we come party. And we see the body with the gal almighty. So Ram dance and we sit down city. And we see the body with the gal almighty. And he's about the mic with the one of
Hey guys, it's KJ from the Scariest Movie Ever channel on YouTube, and it seems it's that time of year again where we're getting a new The Economist cover. For the last couple of years, people have been decoding the cover of these Economist magazines. I've done videos myself here on the channel for 2015 and 2016. In my estimation, these covers for the last few years have been great examples of lesser magic. Spiritual storyboards, if you will. To prove that point, there's connections with these magazines to the globalists. The Economist magazine itself is actually partially owned by the Rothschild banking family of England. If you're new to this, you should look into the Rothschilds and the bloodlines of the Illuminati. Its editor-in-chief has actually attended several Bilderberg Conference meetings, and that's the secretive meeting where the world's most powerful figures from finance, business, politics, and media discuss global policies. And the outcome of those meetings is always secret. So it seems safe to say that the people at The Economist certainly know things that most of us don't, are privy to secret information. So here we are now with the cover of The Economist for the world in 2017. And immediately we can see that this is very different in the way it's formatted from 2015 and the 2016 editions. From the actual Economist website, they say that the world in 2017 contains The Economist's predictions for the year ahead. The world in 2017 contains The Economist's annual collection of detailed, numerate, and opinionated predictions for the year ahead. The world in 2017 features leading figures from politics, business, finance, science, technology, and the arts alongside prominent journalists from The Economist and other leading news publications. We're looking ahead at 2017 to a new American presidency, a Chinese Communist Party Congress, elections in France and Germany, and the political and economic challenges of Brexit, and marks a number of poignant global anniversaries. 500 years since Martin Luther published his 95 Thesis, 100 years since Lenin launched the Russian Revolution, and 10 years since Steve Jobs unveiled the iPhone. And as I said at the very beginning of this, that I see this as a spiritual storyboard, I see this as magic at play. And again, we have this connection to the occult elitists, right? The bloodlines themselves. And what is a tarot card? The tarot cards have been around since the mid-15th century, but in the late 18th century, they began to be used more for divination in the form of cartomancy. And tarot cards, of course, are used by occult practitioners all around the world. We know there's a connection there to magic and to divination. So let's take a look at each one of these cards one by one, and I'm going to tell you what the actual tarot card meaning is behind these cards as we go. This is going to be a bit of a different decode, but it has to be, because again, this cover is completely different than the last 2 years. So of course the imagery here on the tarot card is really interesting. Before we get into that, what does the Tower card actually mean in the tarot? It's interesting. There's 3 different categories. There's actions. So under actions with the Tower card, it means going through sudden change, experiencing upheaval, having plans disrupted, being surprised, undergoing a crisis, having your routine shaken up, or being in chaos. Under releasing, it stands for exploding, having an emotional outburst, erupting in anger, crashing through ego defenses, breaking through pretense, and letting everything go. And lastly, under falling down, it stands for being humbled, experiencing a crash, toppling from the heights, having a downturn in fortune, suffering a blow to the ego. There's also a fourth category, and it stands for revelation for the Tower card, and under this category it stands for suddenly realizing the truth, exposing what was hidden, having a burst of insight, seeing through illusions, getting the answer, and seeing everything in a flash. But to me, this is fascinating, especially given the times we're in right now. The imagery itself is really interesting. On the actual tarot card, it shows people falling off of the tower. But on this one right here, it shows two divides. It shows the Russians, or maybe communism, versus Christianity on the other side, with a bolt in the middle that's destroying the tower. Now, the bolt I've shown in lots of videos, this is a symbol for the devil, for Satan, falling like lightning. Now, this is also why you'll see so many of the so-called Illuminati artists and even big celebrities sporting the lightning bolt. We see this in all kinds of music videos, typically associated with people who are putting out satanic imagery. But you'll see the lightning bolt almost every time. So once I saw this card and once I understood what the original meaning is behind this tarot card, it made me think about how I myself have been speculating for years that Obama would never leave office. But it's still a few months away. And I hate to be such a conspiracy theorist, but I'm watching this all day by day because I'm still wondering, will there be some kind of an event, something that will keep Obama in office and basically turn all the power back over to him before Trump even gets a chance to get in the office? And would this truly be the beginning of the end? World War III, total chaos, martial law in America, concentration camps, real Christian persecution. Because if you think about it, the dividing line is already there. We're seeing all these crazy riots all over the place, even though we know most of these are funded. But still, there are people involved and they're acting out, right? They're tearing apart their own communities. They're setting things on fire. They're fighting with each other. So to me, there's already a really large group of the people out there who are already set up for this. They're already ready for the chaos. They're ready for the destruction. They're ready to rise. So the original Judgment Tarot card shows an angel up in the clouds blowing a trumpet. And beneath that it shows a bunch of naked people who are looking up into the skies and raising their arms. So instead of the angel blowing the trumpet, right here they have Trump sitting on top of the world. There's a few subcategories under each one of these cards. So under Judgment, we have making a judgment. And here's some of the meanings behind this. Having a day of reckoning, separating the wheat from the chaff, making an honest appraisal, getting off the fence, using critical faculties, taking a stand, and making hard choices. I'll go back again to separating the wheat from the chaff. It's very interesting, right? Another subcategory is feeling reborn. Underneath this, it's awakening to possibilities, transforming, enjoying renewed hope, making a fresh start, seeing everything in a new light, and discovering joy. Another subcategory is hearing a call. Under this, Judgment means recognizing your true vocation, feeling inner conviction, feeling an impulse to act, deciding to make a difference, feeling drawn in a new direction, knowing what you must do, and answering a need. And the fourth subcategory is absolution. Under this, it means feeling cleansed and refreshed, releasing guilt and sorrows, forgiving yourself and others, atoning for past mistakes, unburdening yourself, and feeling sins washed away. It reminds me of all the hope a lot of people around the world are feeling for Trump's presidency. Also reminds me of the Trump prophecy, the 777 prophecy. Now again, I don't sign off on... Now again, for me, and the way I look at all these things, I take it all day by day. Trump's not even in office yet. I don't know what's going to happen. So that's Judgment. And I think it's very interesting. Overall, it feels like hope, right? It's kind of talking about hope and cleansing yourself and a new day and all this, right? Once again, isn't it fascinating that they actually use tarot cards to describe these events. And so far I'm seeing the connections clearly. It's interesting. So let's move on over here to the world. So as you can see, they've changed up this card quite a bit as well. Completely altered it, really. But under this one, there's subcategories as well. And the first one is integrating, which means experiencing wholeness, bringing parts together, achieving dynamic balance, combining, creating synthesis, joining together, and working in unison. That's already starting to sound like a one world order to me, right? Next one is accomplishing, which means realizing your goals, prospering, achieving your heart's desire, seeing dreams come true, flourishing, and finding a beautiful solution. The next one is becoming involved, which stands for contributing, healing, rendering a service, using a gift or a talent, sharing what you have, giving of yourself, feeling engaged and being active. And the last subcategory is called feeling fulfilled, which stands for savoring the present, taking pleasure in life, enjoying peace of mind, getting satisfaction, finding contentment, and counting your blessings. Now, my estimation, the very first with integrating feels like it matters the most. Feels like it's really hitting a nerve here with me, and just looking at the imagery as well. And you have to love that they put up the Illuminati symbolism, the Illuminati imagery right there at the bottom, right? And we have all the other icons and images, but all these things seem to be connected through the sun, which is right there just kind of top middle. And we know that these people are sun worshippers. The Freemasons are sun worshippers. The highest level, the Illuminati, are sun worshippers. They worship Lucifer, the false light. The first category under the Hermit card is being introspective, which means thinking things over, focusing inward, concentrating less on the senses, quieting yourself, looking for answers within, needing to understand. The second is searching, seeking greater understanding, looking for something, wanting the truth at all costs, going on a personal quest, needing more, desiring a new direction. And then there's receiving and giving guidance. Under this subcategory stands for going to and being a mentor, accepting, offering wise counsel, learning from or being a guru, turning to or being a trusted teacher, being helped or helping. And the last subcategory is seeking solitude, needing to be alone, desiring stillness, withdrawing from the world, experiencing seclusion, giving up distractions, and retreating into a private world. So immediately for me, just hearing all of this, I see that there's lots of people all around the world that are already doing this. They've been retreating from this world system, and they're seeking more spiritual guidance, and they're reaching out to understand God in whatever form that means for them. I see this in my own work through communicating with different people in messages and emails and comments. There's a real spiritual movement that's been taking place over the last several years. People are seeing how corrupt the system is, and they're sick of it. They don't know what else to do. So instead of turning to any idols on this earth, they're starting to turn inward, and through that they're starting to turn outward to the spiritual. They're trying to find answers outside of what this world has to offer. Now, looking to this image is interesting as well, because they have the earth as a football once again, and they had done that on one of the other covers of The Economist as well. And there's a crack in it. And of course you see the revolution taking place there. You see all the people standing up and fighting against the system, right? And this mirrors exactly what's happening right now in the real world in a lot of ways. Okay, so now we're going to move to the second row, and we're going to start with Death, the Death card. The first subcategory under Death is ending, which means closing one door to open another, bringing something to a close, completing a chapter, concluding unfinished business, putting the past behind you, or having a parting of the ways. Next subcategory is going through transition. This means changing your status, moving from the known to the unknown, being cast adrift, waiting in an in-between state, and being in the middle. Next category is eliminating excess. Under this we find cutting out what isn't necessary, shedding old attitudes, getting down to the bare bones, concentrating on essentials, or getting back to the basics. And then we have experiencing inexorable forces. Underneath this we have being in the path of sweeping. Under this we have being in the path of sweeping, change, being caught in the inescapable, going through what cannot be avoided, being part of a powerful movement, writing your fate, or accepting the inevitable. Even from that, when I first read this, it immediately makes me think about really the end, about what's going to happen when bombs start to drop and people start going crazy. What's going to happen when communication goes down? What's going to happen when this world really starts looking kind of like The Walking Dead? And certainly just by looking at the card, it seems like that's what it's showing us. It's interesting because the original death card doesn't have the sun symbol, but they're using the same sun symbol, in this case it's red, on the death card as they did on the world card. So you see the sun symbol, and then we see the nuclear explosion. And at the bottom of the nuclear explosion, it looks like waves, right? Now, a lot of people have covered this subject as well, about a nuke going off or coming out from the ocean and perhaps hitting New York City or other parts of the coast. This is where there's a lot of prophecy on tsunamis hitting different parts of America as well. So this certainly is a card of death and destruction, even the dead fish down there in the middle, which some could theorize could also mean the death of the Christians, the attack on the Christians. Or just plainly the death of the environment, or maybe a combination of the two. Also interesting that they put the rider on a white horse, because we know in the Bible that the rider brings death. The rider on the white horse brings death. So on the Magician card, the first subcategory is taking action. Underneath this it says doing what needs to be done, realizing your potential, making what's possible real, practicing what you preach, carrying out plans, producing magical results, and using your talents. Underneath that it's acting consciously. So we find knowing what you are doing and why, acknowledging your motivations, understanding your intentions, and examining the known situation. Then there's concentrating. Underneath that it's having singleness of purpose, being totally committed, applying the force of your will, feeling centered, setting aside distractions and focusing on a goal. The last is experiencing power, making a strong impact, having vitality, creating miracles, becoming energized, feeling vigorous, and being creative. So interesting again, looking at the imagery, we have the magician wearing VR, virtual reality. Above him we have the infinity symbol, and he's pressing a button on a 3D printer which seems to be printing up houses. But most importantly for me, it's that connection between the magician and transhumanism, a virtual reality, a singularity, real magic that's playing out before us through the electronic age. It also makes me wonder if this is symbolizing the mark of the beast. Many people believe the mark of the beast will be something like this. It'll be digital, it'll be electronic, it'll be something that you're plugged into, plugging you into this Antichrist beast system. And of course the sun symbol around his head, once again they worship the sun. By extension of that, of course, they worship Lucifer, the false light. So perhaps this is an image of the beast that all these people will be worshiping through this virtual reality. So let's move on to Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune, as you can see, they've really changed the imagery here, which is interesting. So of course under this one we have our subcategories as well. The first one is feeling a sense of destiny. Underneath that we have using what chance offers, seeing life's threads weave together, finding opportunity in an accident, opening up to luck, sensing the action of fate, witnessing miracles. Under that we have being at a turning point, reversing, moving in a different direction, turning things around, having a change in fortune, altering the present course, or being surprised at a turn of events. Under that we have feeling movement, and right there we'll find experiencing change, having the tempo of life speed up, being swept up in new developments, rejoining the world of activity and getting involved. And underneath that we have having a personal vision. And with this we find seeing how everything connects, becoming more aware, uncovering patterns and cycles, expanding your outlook, gaining greater perspective, and discovering your role and purpose. So this card, and even the Magician card, seems to hint that a lot of people, most people, are going to be in a point of introspection. They seem to hint that there's a time coming in 2017 where this is going to affect everybody in the world. People are going to have to start looking inside for the answers. They're going to have to be ready for great change, unlike anything they've seen. But the imagery, what do you make of the imagery? It's interesting. Are those ballot boxes at the bottom with X's? I'm not sure. Of course, we have the bolt at the top again. Now for me, I don't know the characters on here. I'm thinking one of them is Hillary Clinton, but who are the other two? So this is where I'm reaching out to you, because we're decoding this together, and I want to see your answers, and I always enjoy checking out the comment sections after something like this, because many of you have got great insight. So once again, I'm looking forward to seeing what you make of this. But that's interesting, isn't it? And lastly, we'll move on to the Star card. So under the Star card, we find our 4 categories. On the first one, it's regaining hope. Having faith in the future, thinking positively, believing, counting your blessings, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, feeling great expectation, looking forward to success. The next is being inspired, regaining motivation, realizing an inner strength, seeing the way clear, being stimulated to a higher level, creating, and receiving the answers. Next is being generous. Under that we'll find wanting to give or share, spreading the wealth, opening your heart, giving back what you have received, letting love flow freely, offering with no reservations, and holding nothing back. And underneath that we'll find feeling serene, which gives us experiencing peace of mind, relaxing, finding your still center, remaining untroubled, savoring perfect calm, being tranquil amid trouble, and enjoying harmony. So that concludes breaking down each card through the actual tarot deck, and isn't it interesting the information we find in the actual tarot connecting with these cards themselves? Immediately, to me, it gives us this bigger perspective, this bigger picture of something that a lot of us have already been feeling for a long time and a lot of us know. I believe that we're certainly in the age of the end times. It's something I've looked into for years, and many of you have looked into as well. So when we put all this together, what do we see? It seems like there's a chance of sudden destruction coming. It also seems like they're highlighting the idea that maybe there is peace coming, maybe there is real hope coming. It seems like they're highlighting the idea that there is hope coming, maybe there's real peace coming. Now, is this real hope? Is this real peace? Now, is this real hope? Is this real peace coming? Are they trying to say Donald Trump is the one that's going to bring us all this hope and peace? Or could this also be signaling the actual arrival of the Antichrist of the end times? Because he is going to fool most of the people in the world. He's going to bring hope. He's going to bring what seems to be love and understanding. He's going to renew a lot of people's faith. It'll be the greatest deception this world has ever seen. So in all these cards we see this. You have your nuclear destruction. We have what indicates coming Christian persecution, or a great battle between the Christians and the atheists, or the Christians and the Russians. Trump being a figurehead. Is he really going to bring all this peace, all this hope? Is he really going to battle the elite? Or is he just a symbol, something to deceive people from? Or is he just a symbol, a new idol for people to worship? A distraction, keeping our eyes away from the destruction to come. We see the uprising, we see the dividing of the people, the transhumanism angle to all this, people literally being plugged into a matrix, a beast system matrix, I would say. Now, as for the Star card, I didn't really cover it much because I can't really make out the images there, but it seems to be a bunch of children. Now, this is another one that you can help me out with and help us out with. What are you finding there? Who are the people on these cards? Like I said, to me, they look like a bunch of young people. And of course, they're all on sun symbols. Once again, we go back to the sun symbolism, and they have the comet in the middle. So is that comet So is this comet actually going to be Planet X? Are they hinting at Nibiru or Wormwood from the Bible? In the last few years, there has been a lot of talk about this mysterious planet out there, right? It also makes me wonder about how all this pedophilia is being exposed more and more. It's been happening a lot over the last year, but perhaps we're going to see much more of this in 2017. Or perhaps all these young people just represent the millennials. I personally don't think it's that simple, but possibly. But that's what we have, folks, and there you have it. I personally think it's absolutely fascinating how these cards line up a lot with the original tarot. We are literally dealing with magic. There's connections here with the Rothschild, Illuminati bloodline families. This is lesser magic. So I'll leave you with that. I greatly look forward to seeing your comments and seeing what you're coming up with. What are you decoding from here? Because as always, when they show us these types of things, there's a lot more going on, right? A lot more going on than just what's happening on the surface. So thank you again for checking out the video. As always, folks, I really appreciate it. I look forward to seeing your perception of this, to seeing your own decodes down in the comments section. And take care, and I'll talk to you real soon.
In a category, Jamal scheming a waff in a piece of a waff in the war against fuckery. Ram down, so we sit down steady, and we see them body ready with the girl almighty. Anytime I only mic when I wanna woozy. New fall, come run the country. I war in a category, Jamal scheming a waff in a piece of a waff in the war against fuckery.
Yes, we come to stop this madness. Yes, we come to fight this war. Yes, we come to explode bloodshed, represent and keep it raw. Smashing up the lies and hatred, bashing up this corporate scheme. We don't like no propaganda. Well, for God means dead babies.
Madness tight on the heads of the rebels.
اقول لك الذي ما شاف فرد ناس الذي ميقولون الذي احنا ما سمرنا ما قلنا لكم الذي ميقولون ما تجوا ما قولوا ما تراونا ما تخلونا ما تجوا ما تشوفون الذي ما فرد ناس الذي ميجوا ميقولوا لي الذي ما توقعت ما تخيلت ما صدقت الذي راح يجي هنا أنا معنا شويه جمالسكي اي جي شفت الذي يقدر يغني يقولون الذي احنا دائما هنا ما نقدر ما نسمع في فرد داهيه بس نقول لكم الذي والله اجى معنا وقلنا لنا الذي نقدر نغني معانا نحن استمرنا وقلنا لكم الذي ما صدقون الذي احنا ما تجوا ما تشوفون الذي ما فرد ناس الذي ميجوا ميقولوا لي الذي ما توقعت ما تخيلت ما صدقت الذي راح يجي هنا أنا معنا شويه جمالسكي
Madness.